My name is Jamin, and I'm your first friend in Alaska, and luckily for you, I am also an associate real estate broker in South Central Alaska, and today we're going to be talking about where to find work if you're wanting to find a job in Alaska. There's definitely some do's, definitely some don'ts here. If you are looking for something that's a little bit more, I don't know, white collar and looking for something more like that, yeah, we'll talk. We'll definitely talk. Before we get started though, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's go and get into it, my white collar wearing friend. All right, first off, let's talk about the different areas that you can find a job and also what those areas have to offer you as far as the employment options. So number one, if you're looking at Anchorage, this is where most of the healthcare is for the state, most of the big stuff anyway. And also this is where 40% of the entire population of the state lives. So if you're trying to find really work of any kind, this is probably going to be where you end up. So with that being the case, like healthcare, oil, gas, tourism to a certain extent, retail, government, like I said, tourism, like those are all going to be things that kind of concentrate in Anchorage. Luckily, Anchorage is big enough where it doesn't get overrun by tourists like a small town would, but they're still definitely there. All right, now let's say that, Anchorage, not really your cup of tea for whatever reason. Okay, well, what about the Mat-Su Valley? Well, if you're looking to the Mat-Su Valley, there's not as large of a commercial sector to it just yet. It is getting there. I think it's going to get there eventually where a whole lot of people don't have to commute to Anchorage anymore because a lot of those jobs end up being in the Mat-Su Valley, but that's probably going to be a ways off at this point. But anyway, the main job opportunities right now is really going to be stuff in the trades. So plumber, electrician, contractor, stuff like that. And the reason I say that is because the Mat-Su Valley is where the most new construction is going on across the entire state. Like it's not even close. Like the Mat-Su Valley, Wasilla specifically, does most of the heavy lifting of new construction for the entire state. And with that being the case, if you are skilled and reliable and you kind of have that hard skill of being a contractor, then you're probably not going to have to look too hard to find work if you're in the Mat-Su Valley. Next place we're going to talk about is Fairbanks. So in Fairbanks, what are people doing over there? What do they do for work? Well, glad you asked. They primarily work with the university, they military, work with healthcare, or they work with construction. Now, the reason that people live in Fairbanks, it's for the lifestyle. It's a little bit slower. This is also a place where extremes really do reign supreme. And what I mean by that is summer times can get like upwards of 100, I've been told. Winters can be like negative, like 70 or something like that. So it really is just kind of an extreme part of the state. Absolutely beautiful. Like you'll be able to see Denali and everything not too far away, but just kind of know what you're getting into. Okay, now let's talk about Juno. What jobs can you get in Juno? Well, as you know, Juno is the capital of Alaska, and this is where you go if you're really into government, at least at the state level. And so you're going to have a lot of government jobs. You're going to have tourism because you have a lot of cruise ships that go through there. You're going to have fishing, and you're going to have some ocean related jobs you can get as well, I'm sure, with research. Now, the reason that a lot of folks move to Juno, it's a little bit slower pace of life. I mean, it is absolutely beautiful, but I mean, you can fly there and you can take a boat there, but that's pretty much it. So you're definitely not going there because of the accessibility. All right. I've heard you. And you're saying that you're interested more in the Kenai Peninsula. Well, what opportunities are available on the Kenai Peninsula? Well, if you're looking here, usually the jobs are going to be more like healthcare, oil and gas. You're going to get some construction in there, obviously, as well. Tourism, that's going to be really huge. That's going to be more of a seasonal thing, though. I'm sure you can get some year-round stuff, but usually that's going to be more seasonal. And you're also going to be able to work in some places like the Cook Inlet, which, again, that kind of just gets factored into oil and gas as well. Now, Kenai is interesting because most of the people who live there, it's actually their secondary home. So not a whole lot of people live there year round. So if you're looking for somewhere where, it's just It's really quiet and everything during the winter time, and then like the multitudes of the world suddenly descend upon you during the summertime with all the tourism. Then, you know, there you go. Kenai is what you're looking for. You've also got instant access to the snow machining and the ocean and mountains, and just, you know, all the great stuff about living in Alaska. It's going to be on the Kenai Peninsula. All right, we'll go and finish up this list in just a minute. Before I do that, though, just wanted to make sure you were aware that I do have a relocation guide for those of you who consider making a move up here. And if you're even thinking about doing that, you want to get your hands on this relocation guide. It is going to absolutely change your life. To get access to it, go ahead and go to my website. Link for that is in the description section down below. Make sure you register and put relocation guide in the little comment section so I know what to send you. Don't just put relocation guide in the comment section on this video. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that. So make sure you go to the website, register, email address, preferably phone number, so I can answer any specific questions you have about moving here, and I'll get you hooked up. Also, quick PSA. A lot of people, you know, consider moving to Alaska. They move up here and they want to reach out and have me help them with purchasing a property. And I've spoken with a number of people lately who said they decided not to just because it looked like it was too busy because they were seeing all the videos coming out on YouTube and other social media platforms. Just a quick reminder, I am very good on strategically prioritizing my time and making sure I can get all this content created and it not interfere with my primary job of helping you find a property. Real estate is actually my bread and butter, so if you are looking at purchasing a property, let's not let the reason that you decide not to work with me be because you think I'm too busy. I've always got time for you. And yeah, if you're not going to work with me, let's make it for some other reason, okay? Like you just can't handle my personality. I'm just too much for you. How about that? That'd be a good reason. So yeah, PSA is over. Let's keep it moving. All right, now this next one isn't a specific area necessarily, but I'm going to say most remote communities, they do have a pretty high demand for people in education, public safety, and kind of aviation as well. Now, the big benefit of working in these more remote areas is going to be the higher pay, much slower pace of life, and you know, really that's going to be most of the perks there. For some people, it's absolutely incredible. For others, it feels like an absolute trap, and they feel like the world's just closed in on them. Got to know who you are, so you know, don't just look exclusively at how much they're offering without considering the cost of, you know, why it is that they're offering you that much, is what I'm saying. Okay, made my point. Let's keep it moving. All right, now let's talk about the big industries in Alaska that are hiring right at the moment. Right at the very top is going to be stuff in the healthcare field. So if you are a nurse, a CNA, a doctor, someone in the behavioral works, like you're really not going to have to look too hard to find a job up here. That's been the reality for a long time, and I really don't see that changing anytime soon. Another big sector that is always in demand is going to be education, more so in the rural areas. Like they are just never not looking for somebody, it seems like. Now, we've kind of mentioned this before. You go and you find a rural job, and you know, sometimes they're willing to pay a lot of money for a very good reason. You know, sometimes it's just super remote, and some people just can't handle that remoteness. They have an idea for what it's like. They get there and it's completely different, and they feel like the world's closing in on them, and it's just kind of like a panic kind of a thing. I actually had a podcast episode with somebody a while ago who did go work in these, I think it was a remote village, if I recall correctly, a couple of them, and kind of shared her experiences. So go check out the podcast. That'd be a good place to get some insights if that's something you're considering. But I mean, there's always going to be jobs for education in other parts of Alaska as well. Oil and gas has always really been a big part of the Alaskan economy up here, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon. I have a video, if it hasn't already come out, that will come out soon, about the executive orders from the Trump administration. And all that goes through, oil and gas is going to become an even bigger part of the lifeblood of the state. Tourism, That's always a big industry up here in Alaska, a little bit more seasonal. So if you're just looking for something to get your foot in the door, that might be a good place to go. I'm not sure if you can do that just year round and that's going to pay the bills and everything. So it might be a great seasonal thing. And then you need to get something during the winter time figured out as well. Now, fishing and the sea, seafood processing, like that's another big part of the economic leg up here. Definitely like commercial fishing. That's a really big deal. I know they got hit pretty hard. I think it was last year or the year before, just because they caught like the biggest catch they've ever caught. And then the seafood industry came back and just said, well, we're only going to be willing to offer you like, it was like a fraction of what they normally do. So it was like all that work and all that product, and they hardly had anything to show for it. Like some captains actually lost money on the season. Be that as it may, the fish and processing industries up here are going to continue hiring, and their opportunities are going to be there. Make sure you get with a good captain. If you're wanting to go commercial fishing, you get a percentage of the catch. It's not really a per hour thing, so not really guaranteed there. If you're interested in working in essentially a floating factory, then take a look at the fish processing. A lot more predictable, but the work is not exactly glamorous, and it's not exactly going to be the same thing as being on a ship, like actually going out and catching the fish. So yeah, just know what you're getting into. All right, I got just two more industries here, and that is going to be the government sector, which not a big surprise there. The government continues to be a pretty big employer here in Alaska. And last but not least, construction and the trades. So not a big surprise there, primarily looking over in the Mat-Su Valley. Now, if you're trying to find where these jobs are, go check out the alaskajobs.alaska.gov, and that's going to be a good place to look. You can look at Indeed, you can look on Craigslist, you can look on Facebook. Just keep in mind, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. So just be very careful when you're looking at those sites. LinkedIn can also be a great place as well. But this has been my video talking about the employment opportunities up here in Alaska. I really hope they've been useful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and would happy to help as best I can. Thanks for watching. See you next time.